Hey everyone, how you doing today? I'm Nick.
I'm Sam.
I'm Stevie.
And
Jeff's out there somewhere.
Dang.
We are patching Jeffrey. There he is. All right. Off to a great start, guys. We are patching Jeffrey in from the wonderful state of Minnesota. Today we're going to talk about Long-Throw Polishers. It feels like forever since we've been able to talk about them, but as you guys who've been watching our lives know, this has been a challenging year in many ways, supply chain being one of them, and it's caused some delays in the launch of these tools. So we will raise our hand and say we would have loved for this to have gone perfectly, but it didn't. But in the end, we are very excited to bring these tools to market finally.
Yeah, I don't think we're the only ones. It's kind of business not as usual, but walking into lots of stores and seeing things not on the shelves.
Yeah, you've been to the household cleaners or disinfectant aisle in any grocery store in the United States. Quite a few products missing from the shelves. So everything's a little sticky, a little slower, but again, in the end, we're excited to finally talk confidently about finished products in the G15 and G21. If you're following and or have pre-orders on these tools, your G15 should have shipped out last week. Your G21s will ship out next week. So we're still not totally out of the clear of the inventory situation, but from a developmental standpoint, we are done with these tools completely and vetted and tested, and we're excited for you guys to get your hands on them.
I think as of right now, we have a few of these in stock.
Yeah,
still,
yeah.
right?
If you are looking right now and you're waiting for the G15 sales pitches, I see a couple of you guys in the chat already are. You can go buy one from griotsgarage.com right now, and very shortly we will be supplying inventory to some of our trusted wholesale partners. So if you prefer to buy from any of them, they should be getting inventory shortly as well. So we're happy to see everybody tune in. And again, we're really excited to have Jeff with us. For those of you who don't know Jeff, we brought Jeff on for the last G9 launch. Jeff is our senior product developer. Many years, many years in the car care industry, and really the genius behind these tools. Obviously, can't do it alone. We have a wonderful manufacturing partner that Jeff, I know we're going to ask you to talk about a little later, but we got a lot of questions about, and Jeff, I'm talking directly to you. I want you to answer for everybody about the original Boss tools and why we would even consider redesigning those tools. So hopefully that was enough of a layup to get you all warmed up for this.
Thanks, Nick. That was a wonderful layup. You guys have heard it. If you're a long-standing Griot's customer, I think back since Richard originally started the company, the Sir Henry Royce, the quote that we all know, at least at Griot's, we know by heart, and we never settle. And I think a lot of us at Griot's Garage and probably the majority of you on the other side there are perfectionists and really never are settle or are happy, always striving for something better. I mean, that's kind of hopefully the American way. So we take a look at the Boss, which I obviously I still have. If you look behind me there, I proudly present that handbook poster. Having some contribution to developing that tool, and it's just like no matter how much time and effort and energy and love and passion you put into something, you'll always find something that you can do better, and something that you wish you had done differently or wish you could improve. Like it's I think inherent in our nature. So looking at the Boss tool, we learned a lot having launched that. I don't know how many years ago has it been now, Nick? It's all kind of a blur.
2015, so 5 years. This past June would have been the launch of the entire Boss system. So not just the tools, but the 4 abrasives, the 6 new pads with the thin, low profile and center cut. So all designs you contributed to. And that whole system, the best of show system, was June of 2015. So 5 years now. Yeah,
it goes quick, man. It's when you're having fun, that's for sure. But looking at the Boss tool, you know, one of the cool things about a product developer having the opportunity to like basically dream up the image of what you vision to be the perfect tool, that's like really, I consider that a blessing and an opportunity that not everyone has. I look at the Boss tool and I listen, all of us listen at Griot's Garage to your feedback. And so that's why we don't just, we may not always respond, but we're in tune to, I'd like to say virtually everyone's feedback, whether it comes in through customer service or our website or you name it, all the different suppliers and partners we have on the wholesale side. We take those little pieces of tidbits of information and we consider that when we're developing something new. For example, people always want to have higher pad rotation with a long-throw polisher. So we take that into account, and how can we challenge our partners and engineers to develop a tool that has that higher pad rotation. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'll tell you that. I know I've said this before, but this is actually my garage. I'm pretty blessed to be able to work at home. I do miss traveling and coming to see my friends out there in Tacoma. We'll be doing that, as you know, Nick and Sam, on Sunday. This is where I get to test and develop and create products for the company and help contribute. So anyways, I'll digress.
Well, we're excited to see you too, Jeff. I know as product developers trading feedback across states between Minnesota, Indiana, where our chemicals are formulated by our wonderful R&D team, and Tacoma slows everything down. So we're looking forward to seeing you. We did have a question. We are not in our normal space either.
Yeah, we are. We've had a few comments on the nice space that we're in here.
We are in the OG Griot's Garage. So this is Richard's home garage. I've spent many years, drank many beers, restored 2 cars, messed up a lot of cars in this space with my friends. But we love coming here for special occasions and filming, you know, substantial product release videos. It's just a nice setting, and it really embodies everything about our company. I mean, everything is red, black, and white as far as the eye can see.
It's just another car mecca in the Griot's Garage back pocket. This place is awesome.
I know, they're tools from 1990. I think he's got 2 of everything in the Facom catalog from the early 90s, and it all gets used.
Oozes with automotive passion.
Yeah. So again.
Hey Nick.
Yes, sir.
Nick, what's beyond that wall right there? Just on the other side. What's beyond that wall? Help us understand. The hot tub, right?
Oh yeah. Nothing happens there. Nobody even goes in a hot tub. But yeah, it's a pretty purpose-built garage. We've got stainless steel countertops. We've got an I-beam for engine pulling. We've got a 2-post lift. We can pretty much do everything in here. And again, like to my point, we've really done almost everything in this garage outside of painting a car. But it is, again, a blessing to be able to come here and you know, really just share this space as much as we like to share our other space. But all right, let's get back to the tools, just to clear up that confusion. So we really did take a long, hard look. Again, if you guys have been with us for the long haul on these lives, last September we were talking about the G9. Part of that was a substantial shift to a new manufacturing partner that is a family-owned business that has very similar ideals to our own. And in that year, you know, we have embarked upon redesigning our entire tool portfolio. It started with the G9. We then worked to the G8, the small format 3-inch tool. And I know a lot of you are asking questions that are to differentiate them between the long throws, and we will address those questions. But then the backbone of our, you know, top of the line professional paint system were these long throws and how they pair with our abrasives and pads. So we knew that we were going to get to them. We knew we were going to address them. We had the opportunity, as Jeff said, to address all the, not shortcomings, but things we wanted to do better.
Lots of improvement. I mean,
yeah. We'll talk about all the particular improvements. And again, we have 2 tools. the G15 and the G21. You want to talk about just some of the top of the line features of these tools?
Yeah, 100%. So obviously, I mean, some things that we carried over from what we learned with the previous Boss orbitals, long throws, but I would say the biggest improvement here is power. So 1100 watts between both of these tools, so tons of power to get out whatever type of defect you may be going after. And as Jeff mentioned, really driving faster and enhanced pad rotation, less bog.
Sam.
Yes.
I'm not sure how that transition works, so tell me to sit tight if I need to. But
no, you're
the
good.
one thing I'll tell you is that I've already gotten some feedback from pretty loyal customers that a lot of guys think more and gals think more power is better, and they just automatically just crank the tool to 6. I'm going to tell you right now that is absolutely not necessary with that 1100 watts.
Yes.
Like, you don't put your car to the floor. I mean, I do, but most people, you don't put your car to the floor at every single stop sign or stoplight. You got to, leave a little bit to surprise the guy next to you. So don't burn up your pads and run it at speed 6. And that goes for a couple of people that I could name, but we'll go nameless on that.
Yeah, you don't always want to drive at red line. The power's there when you need it, but for sure, don't operate at speed 6. I would honestly say, I mean, in some situations, speed 6 can be so fast it's a little scary. So only use it if you need it. But
For
tons
rookies,
of power.
Sam, for rookies.
A lot of ergonomics that you see in these tools carried over from the previous Boss. So the famous platypus head grip, which has been duplicated many times throughout the industry, but started with the Griot's Garage Boss G15 and G21. That was one of Jeff's ergonomic genius ideas that he came up with. Fits your hand very, very well. One of my favorite ergonomic design upgrades of these tools is the front grip. I mean, that has really become the primary way that I run these tools. It's very comfortable, very confidence inspiring because you have perfect control over the tool. And you also want to apply most of your pressure at the head, and this gives you a very comfortable, confident way to do that. Another awesome improvement and feature is the ambidextrous speed dial. So you can see there, you can change with your thumb or your forefinger. Great if you're a righty or a lefty. You have variable speed trigger, which is essential really. That involves a lot less playing around with the speed dial and allows you to feather up and down between 0 orbits per minute and whatever you have your max speed set on the dial.
And that is a difference between the G9 and these long throw tools. We had people ask, why didn't we do a progressive trigger on the G9? It costs money. It's not just not a free feature you add. So with these long throws, again, you're going to work up and generate more temperature. You're going to spread that product further. That soft start and progressive trigger is a really nice feature.
Very nice, yeah. I mean, it really helps prevent product sling, which a few guys asked if we incorporated anything to help alleviate that, and just gives you full control. And then you have double shot rubber really at every grip location of the tool. There's nowhere on here that you're gonna grab with a hand that you won't be contacting double shot to have a nice secure grip. That's also going to help dampen vibration, which was a big thing that we learned with the previous Boss G15 and G21. That double shot really helps improve the feel of the tool and give you a nice secure grip when you're running one for hours on end and your hands are getting sweaty. Brush ports is another feature that carried over from the previous tools, but was slightly improved with this in the durability and just reliable design of the brush engagement with the armature there. Means there's no downtime if your brushes wear out, which for a professional or someone who's using these tools a lot is a really nice feature. You don't have to take the case apart. You simply pop that cap off, pull the brush out, slide your new one in, you're good to go.
It's like a 5-minute switch.
If that.
Yeah,
if that. Once you get good at it, I mean, you can probably do it in under a minute if you're going fast. And then the fanned backing plate. So that was a very innovative, essentially ground up backing plate design. I mean, of course, there are similarities between this plate and other plates out there on the market, but this is essentially like a tri-layer backing plate design. And you have fan blades integrated into the plate there. So in the center of the plate, which, because this is a long throw, we didn't have the room to integrate that fan onto the counterbalance or the counterweight like we did on the G9. So here we integrate it into the plate, and it provides the exact same function. It's going to push air down into your pad, down to the surface to cool pads, allow them to last longer, and also keep the paint a little bit cooler as well. So welcome feature there. And then you have the, the soft urethane. It's going to give you conformability, but still has enough rigidness that'll allow you to cut out defects as quickly and easily as you need to. And then, of course, don't want to forget the quick connect power cord. So this is something that all of our tools share now. The G8, G9, GR3, G15, and G21 can all accept the same cord. Of course, you do want to keep in mind the G15 and G21 use a 16 gauge cord, and the G8, G9, and GR3 use an 18 gauge. So you can use the 16 gauge on the smaller tools, but you don't want to use the 18 gauge on the larger tools, basically.
And if you bought that 25-foot 16 gauge cord, you got one cord that prevents you from needing an extension cord and can be used on all 5 of our tools. So that detachable cord, we knew we had big plans with that. We have even more plans to utilize that technology, but it really does simplify your cart, right? Jeff, this is one of your bugaboos, right? Just too many cords, too little cart.
You get a bird's nest on the bottom shelf.
Yeah, it's it's a trip hazard, and for me, it's like I keep all my tools in a toolbox, well, multiple toolboxes, but I just can't stand just the unnecessary duplication of cords. It's just unnecessary. So the cool thing is you can literally have at this point 5 tools on the ground or on your cart, and it's so killer just to swap between whatever tool you need to precisely go after whatever specific defect you're detailing. I can't even talk, dealing with. So you won't really appreciate it until you find yourself using it. It's just definitely a big benefit.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I'd say you can't really tout it enough. It's one of those things you don't understand until you experience it. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Especially if you're into organization and a little bit OCD like all of us might be.
One other thing, we did have this question, and I think we've seen it quite a bit. The G9 and G21 and G15s, they look quite similar outside of instantly recognizing the white urethane on the Long-Throw. One other distinguishing feature is the body of the Long-Throw is about 20% longer, about an inch longer than that of the G9. That allows us to accommodate that bigger 1100 watt motor versus the G9's motor. This is just a slightly longer motor assembly. And really that was the only unique mold we had to invest in for that tool, which allowed us to save a lot of money in developing these tools and allowed us to drive price out of that for the consumer. So really that, and as we've mentioned time and time again, the reality is our previous manufacturer was not a manufacturer, they were an assembler. They were sourcing parts that we would dictate, assemble, and anytime you had to bring things from different locations, you add cost. And so with our new manufacturing partner, they are completely vertically integrated. They are winding their own motors, they are casting their own parts, they are milling and machining their own CNC steel products, they are blowing the plastic in their factory. This adds an enormous amount of integration. It makes our production very, very fast, which is great because of the amount of these tools that we've been selling this year. And that has allowed us to pass those savings on to you. This is not a matter of we've driven quality out of this tool. We have absolutely improved every quality aspect of this tool and been able to save you guys money and market that tool for less. So I don't know if there's any more clarification I need to give, but in reality, this is a much superior tool in a lot of quality standards than our previous tool in just motor quality, bearing quality, CNC quality of the counterbalance, the uniqueness of this backing plate, but at a lower price. And that's just,
Nick?
Yes.
Sorry, but I was just going to comment on the one of the things that may not be as obvious to people, but the tooling that it takes to produce these machines They're essentially machined out of solid steel, like a large steel block, depending on the component. I'll give you guys a little questionnaire, like how many toolings, specific toolings that are machined out of solid steel, how many blocks or how many toolings do you think the average competitor tool to the Boss, like the popular black one, how many toolings do you think it takes to produce that machine?
Are you asking us specifically? Because I have no clue.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there. So I would, looking at it right now, I venture to say there's probably 10 to 11, actually 10, maybe 12 at most for internal stuff. And the reason that most people don't use double shot rubber is, number one, it's more expensive, obviously, that additional component, but the tooling, every time you see double shot rubber on a machine, it even though it's a similar shape to maybe a hard plastic machine, it takes twice the tools, 2 times the tools to create that specific part. So anytime you see that, you just multiply it times 2. The G15 and G21, if you include the backing plate and the cord, they actually are in excess of 20 specific toolings. And that is a very costly, investment. And the reason we do it is that it contributes to comfort and a great user experience. And sometimes it's not about the money. It's about, the customer's experience. And I don't know, I was going to say one other thing. If you look at, we can talk more about it later, but if you look at the backing plates, for example, this specific plate, the old Boss plate, really only requires 1 tooling to execute this plate, and that's for the urethane mold. Everything else is, I'll take that back. The hub, the aluminum hub, is actually one other piece. So there's 2 toolings, and everything else is machined or cut out of sheet, whether it's fiberglass or aluminum, this center aluminum hub. Whereas this plate, our new, sorry, I got to get my camera angle figured out, it's backwards, but this plate has tooling specific to the urethane, to the foundation or the platform hub, the top hub. So you've got 3 pieces for that. So it requires a lot more engineering, and all of those toolings have to play with one another and be balanced in order to have proper fit and finish and strong performance, at the hand. So anyways, I'll let you guys go back at it.
We've got a bunch of backing plate questions coming in on the chat. We had a few guys ask, are they backwards compatible or interchangeable from G15 to G21? Yes, they are. You can
Between the 2 long throws.
Yes, between these 2.
Yeah.
So we had another question that asked if the old Boss backing plates would fit the new tools and vice versa, and that answer is no.
Yeah, so if you guys look at the hub, I can't off the top of my head, it's been a couple of days since I focused on it, but the hub, what we did is we elongated the fanned orbital plate. You can actually see it's a longer hub, and what that does is it contributes to a reduction in vibration because the backing plate is more stable. I don't know if you guys can see the difference there, but it's quite a bit different. If you took the old, oh nice, the lights just went out. You took the old backing plate and tried to throw it on a new G15 or G21, you'd have some pretty poor performance, and if not, the backing plate might fly off. So at any rate, that's a more stable plate. The longer hub, if you can see, that actually will help contribute to higher pad rotation as well. So that's all I got for that. I'm gonna go turn the lights on.
Yeah, the 2 parts in unison, again, allow you to, like Jeff said, let the plate spin more freely so it doesn't interfere with, on our previous tool, had a rubber shroud that we would kind of mitigate for more experienced users. You could get higher pad rotation by putting washers in. This hub design actually pushes that plate off a little further, so you minimize the contact and potential interference in stalling or slowing of that pad. So yes,
Yeah.
you can't take this back to our previous generations. If you do have our previous generation tool, we will still continue to support those backing plates. You'll be able to buy 5 and 6 inch plates from us very shortly. And to reiterate Sam's point, early question, you can put the 6 inch plate on the G15. You can take the 5 inch plate and put it on the G21. Out of the box, the 21 has the 6 inch plate. Out of the box, the 15 has the 5 inch plate. Most pros we know like to take the 21 millimeter machine and put the 5 inch plate on it. It's all a matter of preference.
Yeah, I would say that's the most common swap. You don't see many guys put a 6 inch on a 15 because the 5 inch on the 21 will slightly increase your cut and enhance the defect removal of that tool, give you a slightly faster pad rotation as well.
Hey Fab, I will be in Indy next week. I'd love to finally meet you in person. We're probably gonna have to elbow tap through face mask or something like that, but either way, it'll be finally nice to see you and meet you in person. We had a lot of collective questions. We're gonna go and we did promise that we were gonna give away some tools, so we'll pick one of our winners out, and then we'll cover some of the more common questions that were asked. And then, of course, guys, continue to submit questions via the live chat. In the past, you can do something as simple as making us all laugh, and we'll give you a tool, or a very unique question that, again, hasn't been repeated 100 times. We will continue to re-answer questions because this will go on for an hour and a half or so.
Yeah.
We've already been here for a half hour, which is crazy.
It goes so fast.
We wanted to address this one from Photo Hipster via Instagram. He said, when designing from the ground up, what were the primary goals to achieve? Now, we covered a little bit of this, but I still want to kind of reiterate, as it relates to our company, we aren't done with a perfectly good anything. That's not in our spirit whatsoever. I was not raised by that guy. That guy, my dad, Richard, put that quote into everybody's head. Strive for perfection in everything. Take the best that exists and make it better. If it doesn't exist, create it. Accept nothing nearly right or good enough. So Photo Hipster, you're gonna win your choice of a G15 or G21. We will contact you via Instagram, but you can also reach out to us at social@griotsgarage.com and give us your information. But really, and Jeff, you can hammer this home. It's simply that we had an opportunity to improve and we took it. We knew it would cost money, but we know that longer term, we get to prove to you, our customers, that we aren't going to settle. And if you are giving us feedback that is constructive and or negative, we're going to listen and we're going to take that to heart and we're going to improve what we sell for you.
100%. We care about what you guys say and what you think of our products, for sure. I mean, that drives as much innovation as our own ideas, maybe even more sometimes.
Yeah, I'd say personally, just having done this for a while, it's easy for you to be so caught up in developing something. I mean, it is in essence your baby. You dream about it. You don't actually often sleep because all you do is think about this thing and how you can develop something that's going to make people happy. And I'll just say it like it is. There's a tremendous amount of pressure on you as a product developer to ensure that people are happy. That's the last thing we want to hear, is that, when somebody gets something that they're disappointed. So that's what keeps me up at night or gets me up early in the morning, is just constantly striving for how to make things better. That's what makes, I think, all of us at Griot's tick. So, yeah.
All right, a couple other live chat questions.
Yeah, so there were a couple of guys asking about the trade-in program.
Yeah.
Are we still running that?
For G8 and G9, we actually did sunset those. If you call and are polite enough, I'm sure you're going to be able to get your voice heard. But yeah, we did that for the first year of those tools launch in order to accommodate anybody that wanted the newer tool, been with us for a long time. With these new polishers, again, we drove over $100 out of the retail price for you guys. It's a lot harder for us to make that transition and buyback program work. We do still have to answer to the bean counters at the end of the day. But one thing I want to reiterate, if you have one of our current machines, the first generation Boss G15 or Boss G21, and something ever fails, you will get one of these machines to replace that tool. That is our lifetime guarantee against defect. That has not changed. It will not change as long as there's breath in my body. And I will just say that, again, you're going to be pleased. You know, if you like that first generation tool, this is going to represent an upgrade. So it will be nice, but we will not have a buyback program on these two long throw tools.
We had another question on backing plates. I think it was Bobby Vitti. He's a little bit up in the chat, but he asked, will we be making these style plates for the G8 and G9? The answer to that is no, because the fan that's in these plates is incorporated into the counterbalance on the G8 and G9. So that serves the function that these backing plates do, essentially. So you wouldn't necessarily need this plate on a G8 or G9. You already have that cooling built into the counterbalance of that one. So,
Hey, Sam.
Yes.
I'm just dying to talk about backing plates all night. Can we just shed light on a couple more killer features of the fan orbital backing plates?
Absolutely. Let's do it. I know we got one off of a tool here, so if you want me to show it up close.
Well, I got one here. If you guys if you'll be able to see it, if I can get the camera lined up. So there's a lot of thought that went into these plates, and unfortunately, the innovation of these plates is one of the reasons the tools have been delayed. And that's some of you that had bought the G21, we've had some issues with those, and we'll be replacing those shortly. But we really kind of pushed the envelope with these plates. If you look at the original Boss plate or a number of the lower cost options on the market, and for that matter, even some of the higher cost options, you're looking at 2 to a handful of holes in the center of the plate. And this is where the majority of the heat is generated with any orbital polisher. And so we went so far as to put 8 separate holes in the center of the hub that go to the outside edge. So you'll see those horizontal holes. That literally takes somebody manually pulling steel pins out of the mold. For every single hole you see, they're manually pulling that pin out. But what it means to you is that heat that's constantly building in the center of the tool is being exhausted to the outside constantly. So you have several things working for you. The fanned orbital, the fanned action, it's integrated in between the gray and the red. It's actually, you can see part of the fan that drives airflow, that not only helps cool the buffing pad, the backing plate, but it also helps draw some air from the tool, the counterbalance assembly as well. One other big one is that most backing plates have a sharp edge. If you guys feel this, I mean, if you've ever been polishing and not paying attention and you catch that edge on your arm or your, I always, if I'm lazy, I don't tape off my mirrors. I'll catch an edge with the mirror, and the backing plate just mars, or even sometimes will cut your skin because it's so sharp. But what that can do is it can actually cut into your foam, and a lot of you'll see deterioration around the outside edge of your pad because that Velcro is cutting in like a knife. Well, we went so far as to put a urethane lip that not only takes that cut out of the plate that reduces that deterioration of your foam, but it also makes it easier for you to stick your finger in between the pad and the plate and pull the pad off. A lot of people will grab the foam, pull on that pad, and actually tear it. So beware of your backing plates. There's a lot of low-cost leaders out there that look real appealing when you hit the Amazon or your AutoGeek or Griot, whatever button you're hitting. They're often using an inexpensive J-hook Velcro. This is actually U.S. micro grit, U.S. Velcro brand hook. And on what that means to you on a technical front is that shorter hook actually generates less heat. When you start getting into these lower cost backing plates, I absolutely guarantee you're going to eat up your pads more quickly. You're going to be going through pads because the Velcro is not going to attach over a period of time because it just deteriorates. It also generates a lot of heat, which will deteriorate your urethanes and whatnot in your foam. So just to get real geeked out on that, I'm done rambling. But these plates are awesome. So
They are not low-cost
yeah.
plates, and again, as Jeff mentioned, they were part of what gave us a challenge. So I did want to show you kind of if you guys can see the motion, but you can really see when I slow it or try and put it on the camera, how much airflow is going just based upon how many holes you'll actually see. So that is part of the fan action that is happening above that lower section. And again, if I flip it around, try and get some of that visual aspect, but it's almost a crazy, trippy experience to polish with this machine because you're literally seeing through the backing plate in so many different areas as it moves so quickly. But really that just speaks to the amount of airflow. And we did have some questions about when is time to replace the backing plate. We've not been shy about saying backing plates are consumable items. They do wear out. Again, if you start running them into emblems and go around different cars and use this professionally, you will kill backing plates.
Yeah.
They should not last forever. Velcro degradation is one sign, right?
One thing, if I may, with Velcro, if you look at your plate and you start to see polish residue seeping through your pad into the Velcro area itself, and you start to see white residue, particularly in the center, just take microfiber foam pad cleaner, saturate the Velcro after you pulled it off the machine, of course, and certainly unplugged it. But spray microfiber foam pad cleaner on there and then grab a really stiff nylon bristle brush and agitate the hook on the plate, and that'll help to mitigate any polish residue that's embedded into the plate that is really essentially limiting your engagement with the hook and the loop. So you want to maintain your backing plates just as you do with your buffing pads.
Got a lot of comments about brushless motors and cordless. I hope all you guys commenting that are ready to open your wallets when we launch one of those tools, because brushless motors are not cheap.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, and again, the reality, just to silence the question, these are brushed motors. We have done everything we can to make the brushes very easy to exchange or to change on the fly with a very simple standard screwdriver. They pop right in, and as I said 5 minutes, Sam said less. Sam's done it more times than me, but at the same time, it's very, very easy to service these brushes. But to Sam's point, brushless, cordless, those are great things that we'll continue to strive for or research. But in the interim, we're able to provide a very high quality brush machine that is about as easy to service as any brush machine has ever been.
At a very competitive price,
Yeah.
which would likely not be the same if it were brushless.
Now let's not get too deep in the
I
weeds on that one, Jeffrey. We've got a ton of questions to get to.
Yeah, I don't think we've only
Come
answered
on, I want to get into
pre-submit.
AC/DC, buddy.
We're not going there. Okay, we do have a question for you, Jeff. We're going to throw it right at you and see how you react. What do you guys think of attachable LED lights for polishers? Would y'all ever design a polisher with a built-in LED light or attachment in the future? Jeff?
That's absurd. I don't know who would do such a thing.
We'll bring that out with our
they're-
pumpkin spice towels. You can call us when you see that, guys. No, I think that's probably more kitschy than anything, and I think I'd rather focus on actual innovations that help you achieve your goals as opposed to something that is absolutely unnecessary and barely utilitarian at all.
On the vast majority of folks that are doing it seriously, you're going to get a lot more function out of a separate light that's higher powered, something you can set up behind you or inspect the paint with manually in your hand.
How about a headlight?
Yeah.
Lots of
A
solutions.
tripod with LED inspection lights. Sorry, guys. not buying it.
Hey, if I may, and I say this with the utmost respect, there's a lot of different crescent wrenches on the market that you can, one crescent wrench will do multiple different, applications, including adding a light. Like those, they sound really novel to have like all in one, but it can definitely benefit to have something, that specializes its own purpose or application, kind of like a brain surgeon to a nurse practitioner kind of a thing. So not knocking any of those professions.
Can you scroll down? We had a couple other questions. All right. Well, here's an easy one too. Are these tools safe for beginners?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, there's a level of experience that you do want to have with a long throw, but
I mean, beginners, if you are mechanically adept, if you've ever used a power drill or a pressure washer or anything, you're going to be able to handle one of these tools. Now, there is a further debate about G15 versus G21 and the nature of your use as a beginner. If you are simply doing your own cars and you want a single tool, you may opt for the G15 primarily because you'll get a little bit more maneuverability and you'll cut down your polishing time, get the speed of a long throw, which is one of its primary benefits. If you're a beginner that's going to buy 3 tools at once, the G21 serves as your big power horse, fast correction, big flat panels, and you can complement it with smaller format tools such as our GR3 or G8.
To go along with that, Jay Gerlardo asked if you have a G15 or G21 and maybe you have a little less experience, do you guys have any recommendations to kind of safeguard and make sure that you're not causing damage or that you're the least likely to?
Great. And this is another reason we're here too, guys. Specific use, not just the tools, right? So I'll let Jeff go on that one.
Yeah, I mean, a G21, put it in perspective, it's throwing back and forth essentially 7/8 of an inch hoop for those who don't, use the metric system a great deal. So the 2 biggest things that you need to be cognizant of when you're using those tools, one is that 7/8 of an inch plate is banging back and forth. So any adjacent, body panels or more so like mirrors, door handles, emblems, bumpers. Let's say you're buffing the tailgate and you bump into the horizontal portion of a bumper. There could be some negative effects from that. I personally have had it where the backing plate will leave some marring, an actual urethane marring on the clear coat. Majority of the time buffs off, but the best way to prevent that is to just tape off your adjacent panels. So don't be lazy. I'll be honest, I sometimes get a little lazy when it comes to taping stuff off. And, if you bang into a rearview mirror and you hit it hard enough, you can actually permanently mar that, let's say the black plastic. And that, to replace that is fairly costly. So try to avoid that. And just understand, put into perspective, you are removing paint when you do paint correction. In the simplistic fashion, that's what you're doing is you're removing paint. The G9 will remove it efficiently. The G21 removes it extremely quickly or extremely fast. So you just need to, be cognizant of that. If you just go like gangbusters with a G21 and you're not paying particular attention to body lines or the edges of a fender, that type of thing where paint is thin, you're assuredly going to burn through at some point. It's certainly not as aggressive as a rotary. However, it's just something you want to be mindful of. If you're ever concerned about a high spot on a body panel or something that, just generally speaking, any sharp edges or high spots on a body line, the paint's gonna typically be thinner there. So you just, you can even go so far as to tape off that edge. But I generally just try to buff up to it and not over it. Or if I am gonna correct a hard, sharp body line, I'm gonna just work quickly over that panel and not, hang around for a drink or two.
I did see one other thing. We're 45 minutes in, guys. We haven't mentioned this at all. We almost always forget this because we get so engaged and so excited. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining us. We would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Throw us a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. Also, if you can't be here with us the entire time, we tend to do these lives every 2 weeks. We generally are generous, whether it comes to discounts or giveaways. We're here to coach you. So no question is really out of bounds, but we do like to have some fun as well. But we would ask again, you subscribe, like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you can only tune in for 5 minutes, you can see the entirety of this video. It will live on our YouTube channel in perpetuity. unless Sam or myself says something incredibly lewd or politically incorrect after an hour and a half.
That never happens.
It's likely that I will.
Yeah, it's probably
gonna
Jeff.
be me
That's
if anybody-
why we ration him. We know what comes out of his mouth. But so please, we really appreciate that. And of course, you can follow us on Instagram. You can request our catalog. If you didn't know we were a catalog company, that's how we were founded 30 years ago this year. You can request a catalog to get our entire merchandise of inventory. And of course, follow us on Facebook as well. So we really appreciate you guys. We love doing this. I mean, it's a lot of time and effort. We're moving around. Matt, our video guy behind the scenes, is always sweating his butt off.
It sounds like he wants to talk right now.
Uh-oh, the voice of God here.
No, I'm the voice of God. I actually just also want to mention, we didn't say anything about it before we started, but this one is also streaming on Facebook right now. So we want to make sure that was working and up before we promoted that in the future. So if you can't join us on YouTube, you should be able to in the future join us from Facebook. So we'd love for you to be able to join us there or here or anywhere. But if you want to submit a comment, currently we're just getting them from YouTube, but hopefully we'll be getting those from Facebook as well in the future.
Great.
We don't care where you watch, right?
Yeah.
As long as you watch.
Yeah, again, we're here to help. Nothing is out of bounds. There is no dumb question. This is a really fun thing to do. I mean, we all love what we do. And part of what is the most fun is turning the lights on for people as it relates to these machines. Everybody has some trepidation initially, unless you jump in at 10 or 12 years old, right? And just start buzzing stuff, buzzing your bike and your little Power Wheel gel-coated thing. I don't even know if they make Power Wheels anymore, but
Oh, they do.
if that's even the right name. But we really love talking about this. We're always going to continue to bring new products. Remember, we're about a month and a half from the official SEMA timeline when that would happen. We're going to have a heck of a lot of new products to talk to you about then.
Fun stuff coming.
I know we've been working our butt off, as well as our entire organization, our manufacturing facility in Indy. All those folks out there work their butts off to get your product to you as fast as possible. So shameless self-promotion aside, thank you for being here with us. And we'll answer some more questions.
Thanks for calling that out, Matt.
Yeah.
So one more to add on to what Jeff was saying about, and if you are newer to long throws and you want some kind of guidelines to help make it a little safer, I believe Jeff mentioned the Interflex pads.
Yes.
Right? So our Interflex pads are one, it's basically a interface that you can use with a low profile boss pad that'll give you a little more thickness, a little more conformability, a little more safety when you're approaching adjacent edges and things like that. You could also use our 1-inch thick pads. So that's one benefit that we talked about earlier with the backing plate studs that are weight matched for different size pads. You can use those thicker 1-inch thick pads. Refer to your weight guide in the manual that tells you which stud to use with which plates you're using, and use that stud with the 1-inch thick pads, and you're going to have a little bit easier time approaching adjacent surfaces and things with that larger throw.
Yeah, and it's our fault. We haven't really actively marketed these machines primarily because of the supply chain issues and the backing plate complications. And again, we raise our hand and say that's not how we typically like to come to market. But we made it right, and we'll continue to be better about that. But some of the initial users that got G21s, when we found out there was an issue with the backing plates, did not understand what these three fasteners were for.
What is this ludicrous idea?
It makes me incredibly sad because of the amount of hours that I know Jeffrey and our designers pour into a manual that nobody tends to read. But the reality is that these fasteners provide you the capability to utilize the pads of your choice. Now, obviously, we have a high level of belief in our pad system. It has been very good to us since we launched it. It is a multitude of foams, a multitude of microfibers. And in fact, we've gone and overhauled all of those foams and microfibers and introduced a wool material in the past 3 months. But if you still insist upon using a competitor's pads, we'll still love you. And we're going to allow you to utilize our machine and minimize vibration by matching the weights of the pads you prefer to the correct fastener. Now, a couple of the early reviews were saying, well, I have to change this to change pads? No, of course not. This is simply one other option we provide if you are hypersensitive to vibration. If
Optimization.
It is simply that. If you insist upon 1-inch thick pads with microfiber facings, that's inevitably going to be much heavier than a low density, low profile foam. And so the machine is going to behave differently.
You're not talking a slight weight
Nay.
difference either.
Yeah.
It's like triple to quadruple the weight difference. And Jeff, I know you can speak even more to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just say that, I'll just give you one example. So, you've got two pads. The camera angle is crazy. Two pads, you've got the Boss pad, 5/8 inch thick, and you've got the standard pad, 1 inch. Now, for those of you that use the old Boss tools, we really recommended you to stick with just the Boss pad for the optimal performance. And that's largely due to the counterbalance, its ability to manage the opposing weight. It's just like a motor with the crankshaft and the piston and the rings and all the fasteners, that kind of thing. This counterbalance only has the ability to oppose on opposite weight in grams or pounds, or we'll say grams. So if you look at this pad, this is 20 grams, and the standard pad is 29. So the further you move away from that balance, that sweet spot, if you will, with that counterbalance, you get vibration. I won't get into a huge discussion on it, but the 1-inch thick pads have a higher capacity to hold weight because they're a sponge and they're taking on more product than what's capable in the 5/8 Boss pad. So as you progress around the car, that only gets worse, that vibration. So just think of it as you're a high-end engine builder and you're blueprinting your motor. Yeah, you could throw a bunch of parts together from Summit Racing and it would run fine. But if you rev it up to $9,000, it's going to blow up in most cases, or it's not going to live very long. And that's why you pay high-end engine builders to blueprint the motor. Well, that's what these, in a simplistic fashion, that's what these fasteners allow you to do, is to blueprint your counterbalance so that you get the very best vibration, very limited vibration performance out of that tool. If you want to just stick with one fastener, just go with the black one, and you can use it all day long. And I assure you that it'll perform on par or better than what you have now. So,
Couple quick questions. Is a gear-driven model in the future at Griot's Garage? You guys have to demonstrate some demand for that. Our manufacturing partner is capable of anything we'd like, quite frankly, but I will say we have plenty more left in the tank. I can't speak specifically to gear-driven, but I know it is something we could be capable of doing. Another quick question. Do these G15s and G21s have a washer mod installed? No. As we kind of spoke to earlier, you don't necessarily need that because of the hub that stands off the shroud just a little bit longer. So you actually have quite a bit of room between the backing plate and the shroud. Now, the previous generation model had a silicone base that was essentially a training wheel for somebody utilizing a backing plate or a long throw for the first time. Most of the feedback we got was that's not necessary, and I want to put washers in. I want to separate it a little further so as to minimize that slowing effect of that rubber or silicone shroud. And so we listened to you, and we essentially engineered that out of these tools. So it is not necessary.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got a few good questions from Dean Chen. Thanks for how active you've been, man. A lot of you guys are coming in hard with the questions. I can't even keep up with the chat right now.
I honestly think Dean probably deserves a tool. He's asked a ton of questions. He said he was trying to hang on before he could take his kid to Kumon Math. So Dean, we're going to give you a tool.
Yeah, and he said he's using Buff and Shine pads, so maybe we can get him to buy some Griot's pads if we send him a tool.
Okay, Dean, deal.
But he asked if we prefer 5 or 6 inch pads for the majority of tools. He was asking if you're going to run one pad size across your G9, 15, and 21, would it be 5 or 6 inch? I know I always tend to prefer the 5s. A lot of modern cars, you have a lot of curves and contours and edges and angles and all sorts of stuff where that 5 inch pad and plate will give you a little more versatility. But the 6-inch can be nice for big surfaces. So
Yeah, I mean, we kind of go through this all the time. People ask, well, why don't you allow us to pick the tool or pick the backing plate with the tool? The reality is that between the 15 and 21, we pick an equipment set and you go and choose what you'd like. With our G9s, they come stock with a 6-inch. Primarily, we're giving that for the broadest range of consumers. That tool can be used for waxing. 6-inch wax pad on a G9 is a great way to spread that butter over hot bread. But the reality is most of our sales are telling us these are the stock equipment that people prefer. And if you are more advanced and prefer a different one, well, we will provide that. We have the option for you to buy that from us. It's not simply an upsell. It is really just the historical sales that have driven those decisions for us. So we're not doing it in a vacuum. We know, yes, you are a professional and you want the 21 with a 5-inch plate. Again, there are less of you than there are people that want the 21 with a 6-inch plate. So that is simply the decision we make in putting together these tools. Either way, we can support you with pads and plates. All right?
another good question they asked. Sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
Nah, I'm just sitting here. I'm fine.
Well, I was gonna pitch this one to you, but he also asked, will we be selling or offering open cell foam pads, which our current foam pads are reticulated open cell foam. So all of our current foam pads, right? That didn't change, right, Jeff? I'm still speaking in line.
Yeah, man, they're all reticulated open cell, and the benefit to the user there is that the pads run cooler. Reticulated open cell foams are actually more durable than a closed cell, and all foam starts off as a closed cell. It goes into essentially a chamber where they light off a bunch of natural gas and explode, do a small controlled explosion. And I won't get too deep on that, but at the end of the day, the open cell reticulated foam are most durable. They run cooler, keep your pad, your paint finish cooler during the correction process, and overall are safer. So.
Okay, just to reiterate too, we just gave away our first tool in the live stream. Our plan is to give away 4 total in the live stream. We're going to be here for about a half hour longer, and we did pick 4 winners from our pre-submitted question. We've already given away 1 to the pre-submit. I know there's another one in there, Stevie. Will you scroll down and we can find one of those other winners? We've unfortunately covered that in other discussions. That gentleman's question was engineering improvements of the 15 to 21. Let's see. You guys, again, you've got more to ask us. You can make us laugh. You can ask a really pointed question. You can kill us with participation as Dean did. And Dean, that's not a bad thing. We'd like to see you participate because it probably pokes us enough to essentially answer your questions. But at the same time, we're stoked to give these tools away finally. So, and we know all of you guys or gals are fighting significant others and your budgets and just throwing us your paychecks. So we appreciate that because it helps us do what we do. We've got more questions to answer.
One question I don't think we've addressed yet that I've seen come up a couple more times was waxing and what tools you can and cannot do that with. So long throws are typically not friendly in applying wax. They're going to impart more heat and friction to the surface, which can oftentimes kind of speed cure a wax, if you will, and you'll get buffer trails or halos, or there's tracking. There's a lot of different words for it that different people use, but basically you'll wipe off the wax and still see like your orbital trail left behind. So typically, if you're applying wax with a machine, use a G9, or if you're doing a small vehicle or something curvy, use a G8. You can also wax by hand. The main benefit to applying wax to the machine is just you're going to save a little bit of time and energy because you're going to be able to do it faster.
Of course, the only exception is the Boss finishing sealant.
Yes.
We did develop that product with long throw use in mind, so it's not going to be the most durable wax we have. However, it does have a mild abrasive, and you can really utilize some of our higher density foams paired with that product to chase maybe remnant micro marring from a more aggressive abrasive such as fast correcting cream as a finishing step. and get some wax protection out of that. Primarily, again, I've transitioned to use our ceramic 3-in-1 wax, so I'm not really waxing by hand or by machine per se. But the G9 really is, and G8 are perfect tools if you want to machine wax your vehicles.
Nick, who says that fast correcting cream Micro Mars? What do you must have had a speck of dirt or something get in your pad, buddy. That ain't happening.
Well, it is a wonderful product in terms of how it finishes down, but there are scenarios, you know.
I think he was thinking of complete compound.
Yeah, okay.
Hey now. Hey, I'll just say if I had to, I mean, granted, if I had to pick one tool, the G9 is highly capable. You have the ability to easily spread wax and put it on real thin and quick and efficiently and effortlessly. And you can tune that up by using a 5-inch backing plate and a microfiber boss pad and go after defects that you would go after with a G21. But obviously it won't be as efficient. Your time, it will take maybe 1-2 buffing cycles to do that what a G21 can do in one. But for me personally, if I had to pick 2 tools personally to go go after anything and everything, I would definitely pick the G8 because I kind of just like painting. If you're going to paint a bedroom, you're going to go in and cut in all the outside edges, which are generally, whether you're using a big padded rotary polisher or an orbital, those edges are generally missed or not quite the attention to detail is being paid to those because most people will kind of be timid in that area. Or the pad just simply can't go after those defects. So using a paintbrush where you can cut in and really focus keenly on those edges, cut in all those edges first and then fill in the gap with your long throw. And if I had to pick one, I'd probably go with the G15 for most people, just because it's just really highly agile. The new model has absolutely insane pad rotation. So for correction, you're going to be on par with a G21. It's really, really smooth and fun to run. So that would be, if I had to pick 2, it'd be the G8 and the G15.
Okay, we had a couple.
And I'm not just, yeah.
Couple quick questions. We did have what is the only tool you would use, and he just gave you a perfect summary. If you had to pick one tool. If you had to pick 2 tools. If you had to pick one tool, my preference is G15. We did have a question, primarily just because a little bit more maneuverable if I've only got one, but luckily I work for this company and I get to use all of our tools, so I don't have to make that choice. We had a question, what is the life expectancy of that tool? And first of all, don't worry, I'm not going to take extreme offense to that, but I don't care for that question whatsoever because we aren't engineering these tools to last a year. That is
1.2 years.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, 1 year and 1 day. That's when you're going to fail you.
No engineer,
There's no planned obsolescence for this tool. You buy it from us, it is covered for life. We don't presume if you're an enthusiast or a professional, you're going to find a way to kill these tools unless you drop them in the ocean, which some of our friends in the boat detailing industry around here tend to do and lie to us about.
Oh yeah, we may have replaced a couple.
They don't. They just tell short truths.
Oh yeah, well when you're cleaning out saltwater residue from brushes, you start to understand that's not a natural wear and tear.
It's pretty evident if you've dropped it in salt water, guys. So.
Yeah, I know. We're not fooled by that anymore. But really, these are lifetime tools. We have a lifetime guarantee against manufacturer defect. Unless you are doing something drastically wrong, and we will be able to identify that, we're going to stand behind these tools for life. There is no lifespan on this. We don't want you as a customer for a year. We want you as a customer for life. Simple, easy, done, end of story.
And please don't try to repair your tool yourself. If it's something big like gears, counterbalance, electronics, that will void your warranty. That's about the only thing that will void your warranty. But give us a call
or
if you're
buffer
having
cords.
any issues.
Yeah.
Buffer cords, those are probably the most common failure on a tool, and it's really tough. Now you just replace it. You listen for the click, and you're good. obviously brushes are consumable, backing plates are consumable, but everything else, we go so far as to use mobile lux, molybdenum grease in the gearbox. Like, most people just a lot of manufacturers just take a spatula and just toss some stuff they found down at the local discount wholesaler.
Okay, Jeff,
we have
Jeff, I've got a question
shelf.
you're going to love, and then I have a question that's going to set you off. What's your, you have 5 seconds to answer this. What is your favorite beer to drink when you're polishing a car?
5 seconds. Oh, shit.
Quick, come on.
I like Racer 5, but it's been 3.5, 4 weeks since I've drank beer, so I'm
Oh,
kind
gosh.
of,
Good job, man.
Okay, I'm really liking Johnny Utah, Georgetown right now. That's my go-to beer right now for polishing cars. It's got flavor, but it's light enough you can drink a couple without falling asleep.
That is a solid choice.
I'll digress. It's Badger Hill from out here in Minnesota. They got a good one called Trader. It's this nice hazy IPA. Quite
Okay.
refreshing.
All right, and then what do you think about waffle pads?
You want the long dissertation or the short one?
Short and sweet. Maybe we got a lot of questions to answer.
Yeah, buffing pads should be, especially for orbital, should be made flat. So you have even distribution of the pressure on the pad to the paint, and you don't have pockets storing polish that ends up drying up and causing marring and hazing. So if you've ever polished a car with a waffle pad, particularly with a rotary, and you actually stripped off all of the oils that were imparted on the finish, a lot of times you'll see a really kind of a blotchy nature to the finish. So flat pads are in most cases the way to go, particularly with orbital.
Okay, we've got a pretty funny joke from Grey Wolf. I swear I've seen you around here, but Sam, you pointed it out, and I think we might have a winner here.
That's too funny not to repeat. Grey Wolf said, the only tool I wouldn't use is my brother-in-law.
I don't know if he's talking about Griot's garage tools in particular. Either way, that's the kind of snark that gets you free stuff from us. So, Grey Wolf, you are a winner. Email social@griotsgarage.com. We're going to let you pick a tool.
Grey
and if you
Wolf.
don't want a long throw tool, we'll make up some package of equivalent value. But
Those of you that have been with us for a long time might remember the mother-in-law
yeah,
that I think we've actually joked around replacing with the brother-in-law.
there's a lot more brother-in-law personas than there are mother-in-law personas, and we
all know one.
I'm lucky to have a great brother-in-law that doesn't fit this bill, but
Same
we have a
here.
lot of hilarious characters that we're cooking up in our heads.
Okay, a couple things. Grey Wolf is actually the one that wrote us a poem last time and ended up winning the over-the-top poster.
Okay, well we'll just give you something.
Send him a t-shirt or something.
And then we did want to include some of the viewers on Facebook this one time.
Okay.
So we have a question from Michael Robibaro. He said, are the new Boss models top or front heavy?
Top or
They're
front?
perfectly balanced.
Yeah.
Neither.
Very balanced.
I think, that the proof's in the pudding there. You want a balanced tool. We've had
Two-finger.
couple people ask about one-handed use. I don't recommend polishing a car entirely by one hand,
Just
but
depends how much you're hitting the gym, right?
yeah, and if you're out over a roof panel or stretching to get to the middle of a Ford Excursion, which I've had a strange affinity with recently, but I used to have to detail a lot of them when I was in high school. Man, having this tool when I was that young, I would have loved to have been doing one-handed stretches for polishing the center of those hoods and roofs. So it's balanced enough to do
I
that
would
with
say
comfort.
You can, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be somewhat tough to
Nick.
apply downward pressure. You got to get those triceps nice and strong, but it's doable.
Yeah.
Jeff,
Hey, one thing, I got to give a quick shout out. I'll just say Maggie came up with this idea, and this is basically, if you guys look at the shroud, God, I just can't get that right. If you look at this, it looks like a nice short wine glass, and that was one of her contributions. So I have to give a shout out to her. Just like the G9, we've got some detail of the Ferrari intermixed in there. And one of the things that you'll appreciate is the corner. The double shot rubber was put on all four corners. And what that does is it kind of gives you, instead of a we'll say a lot of black polishers are made of just basically solid reinforced nylon, and that can become rather slippery. You'll appreciate the way the double shot rubber, whether it's at the bottom or the corners, just easily allows you to grip and control the machine a lot better. So, little insight.
And you know, guys, we kind of set an expectation for how much stuff we give away. There's no real rules here, okay? We're making them up as we go. And I'll go into the CFO's office and I'll argue for the quality of the output here.
Nick's pretty good at throwing his weight around.
Yeah, versus the cost of making you all happy. But we did have a couple other Facebook questions, but yeah, man, weight of my heart is making me laugh. If you can shake me off balance and make us laugh while we're trying to put on the best show we can and answer all your questions, you're gonna get in. But because again, really, a lot of these questions start repeating themselves, and we're looking for something different as we monitor the live chat and we get them from every which way. So, Stevie, you said there's a couple other Facebook questions?
I'm not monitoring Facebook, Matt is, but I did just want to say, Jeff, you're getting a lot of compliments on the GTI.
Yeah.
If you want to give a super brief little dissertation.
Lots of Volkswagen love in there. I've seen those too.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, don't get me started. I'll just give a quick shout out to my friends over at APR and my good friend Paul Brooker and my dear friend Chad Erickson. Those guys all helped me put that thing together, and it puts a lot of smiles on my face. So love you guys.
What's the horsepower rating these days, Jeffrey?
Well, you're running under there, bro.
At the wheel, I think it's around 330, 336, and just under 400 for torque. And it's finely tuned. It's got big brakes and suspension's all dialed. And I don't know, Nick. I know you've had some rides in some pretty exotic cars over the years, but I took you for a little spin on it. What did you think?
Well, I would tell you this. I've never seen somebody laugh or smile as big as when you were getting back pressure blow off and out of that exhaust just as we were cruising around Minnesota last year. And and I definitely think that with all the things that you have done, I would have kept my 7th generation Golf R, knowing that the partnership with APR was forthcoming and the quality of the parts and the potential that those motors have. I mean, it really is impressive for such a practical platform as the hatchback is. I will never lose my love for, for hatchbacks, but that car was, stock. It's got a lot of things that would piss me off and just my hatred for modern cars, but APR finds a way to engineer them out of them, make it brake better, make it feel analog, make it sound great. I had a blast in that car.
Get rid of the Al Gore button too.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Hey, no politics.
What's your favorite mod, Jeff?
My favorite mod on it? APR software that just cranks the boost up and, makes it go crazy. I like the pops and bangs. I'll light those off virtually anytime I can. So had to get rid of the pre-muffler in there, the APR pre-muffler, and just go straight pipe to the rear mufflers, and it cracks and pops like crazy.
All right, we got a question from Sean Owens about the fan counterbalance. So if you were with us at the very beginning, we explained that the larger counterbalance in the long-throw orbitals precluded us from being able to incorporate the fan onto the counterbalance like we do on the G9. So we'll get that a little closer. One of our patents on the G9 is actually that fan-cooled counterbalance, which pulls air up through. But on the long throws, again, you've got a wider counterbalance, and you cannot fan it. So what we did was we designed the backing plate to actually incorporate that same concept of pulling air through and pushing air through the pad and shroud assembly. So the G21 and G15 do not have an integrated fan in the counterbalance. They have it in the very unique backing plate that we designed. So just a point of clarification.
One other thing, Nick, that extended shaft, or the extended, I should say, mid housing of the body, that not only is kind of like, in essence, pushing the firewall back for a big block, it also improves the airflow that's coming from the filtered screen here that's going to push, or it's going to be pulled from here and exhausted out the right side and at the bottom. So one way to improve cooling with the G15 and G21 is to extend that body. But in addition to that, we also increase the motor RPM. That's not going to translate to the backing plate, but the motor itself spins at several thousand higher RPM, which essentially drives more air via that fan. So if you want to get crazy on that, there is a big difference between the G9 and the G15, G21 as far as the RPM of the motor, and that's what gets you that cool operating temperature. So a little insight on that.
All right.
You guys gotta leave Nick alone about his hair, man. Jeez.
I don't care.
Yes, Nick, it's failing. Your two-step combo and braced and reinforced with the hairspray is it's not doing what it used to do. I'm kind of thinking
disclosure
you might
is
be
the
getting
name
a
of the
little
game
older.
in business, and I don't appreciate you giving full disclosure.
Giving
I will
away
say,
secrets.
the hair haters are usually the people with the least of it, so I just kind of take them with a grain of salt here. We are seeing some jokes come in. Some of them we cannot share. We are getting just as much GTI love as we are Volkswagen hatred. We saw what was a GTI good trade-in.
Hey, that's hurtful and unnecessary.
The rivalries
I got
are
some more.
one of the best
Got some
parts
more
of
parts to put in. I can't get enough of this stuff. Look at
I
that
know.
little shout out.
If you guys
All
didn't know too, we are technical partners with both APR and Dynan, some amazing brands. We really are honored to have any space to kind of be compared or part of their umbrella of technical partners. So yeah, it's a great synergy. Jeff loves GTIs. I think you've got 3 GTIs, a Mark 1, a Mark 2, and the Mark 7.5, right? So
Yeah, buddy.
it was a pretty natural partnership. Just we speak each other's languages. So can the new backing plate be used on the G9? No, it cannot. If you want to see, again, we're kind of having some struggles with some backing plates. This is a G9 backing plate, so it actually screws into the counterbalance assembly, whereas the Long-Throw tool has a hub. And again, part of the technology that we incorporated into this was the variable hardware with different weights to accommodate different pad weights, different manufacturers. So no, they will not adapt.
What about orbital maintenance?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Jeffrey. Yes.
No, I just wanted to touch on one thing. Like, obviously, this time we're spending with you guys is not enough to really shed light on all the attention that was put to these tools. But there's a lot of options on the market, and just everything that we did with these tools, like there's really no expenses spared. For example, the urethane, like I've personally seen these myself, like drums of this stuff. The urethane is actually from Germany on our backing plates, and it's made by BASF, and which is one of the premier chemical manufacturers in the world. And so we're just we're not throwing just stuff at the wall in hoping you guys like it. It's very well thought out, at least, and I attribute a lot of that thought to our manufacturing partner, and specifically one engineer who just is a rock star. So I'll give a shout out to him. They're much like us in that they never are satisfied, and understand that no matter how far we get a tool, I just want to say this, no matter how far we get a tool, it could be 2 years into production, we're never going to rest on improving that tool. So I'll straight out say that we'll continue to improve tools as much as we do with our chemicals and everything else as the time goes by. So we accept nothing near right or good enough. So anyways, that's my little preach for the moment. I'm done.
Well, I'm glad you guys are so interested in my hair. I'll keep having to move the goalpost further and further.
Some funny comments
Nick,
there.
when's the gray coming? Are you gonna? I figure by now working with me and Sam, you'd have some grays setting in.
He doesn't have enough kids yet. I think that's it. I got some
This-
poking
this-
through.
This is what happens to me when I have to put up with you two and Stevie. So I love you guys.
I got plucked like 10 grays out of my eyebrow the other day. That was embarrassing.
All right, we did have another serious question. Sean Owens asked, he wanted to clarify if he misspoke that he wasn't comparing the fan-cooled counterbalance in the G9 and the fan in the long-throw plates. So the fan assembly does not spin within the plate. It is fixed, but it is a series of blades that move air in a fan-like manner. So it's not too complex of a concept outside of that it is in between the hub, the top of the plate, and the urethane interface and Velcro below it. So it is complex in terms of assembling
good
it all
idea.
together. But the fan itself is not, I mean, it does not move. It is stationary. It is fixed within the plate.
And John Blake, we do see you in there. Your questions are not too vanilla. The chat is just going so fast we can barely even keep up.
Yeah,
so.
I don't even know how many people are in there, but we had, I don't know, 200 pre-submitted questions, 12-page Word document of pre-submitted questions, and you guys are just firing. Yeah.
Any further stupid question gets you sent straight to the gulag.
Oh, no. No gulag question. Or we're not sending anybody to the gulag here.
No.
Yeah.
We love all you guys.
We might
regardless
send
of your
we
questions.
might send you to the woodshed though.
Yeah. Well, in Minnesota, they have woodsheds. I don't know what we
Oh
got here.
yeah, you know it there, don't you know?
All that snow.
All right. Did we want to kind of clear up one of those misnomers from Mark Joseph? Just that kind of, we had a kind of perspective on that. Okay, so you want to take that one?
Sure. We've been getting a lot of questions on like stalling and how to run a long throw or any orbital over, contoured edges and curves and things like that. And Mark Joseph asked, I currently use a Flex 3401 because I like that stalling is not a problem. A lot of my frustrations come from bad DAs that stall often. How do either of these polishers handle stalling with so many cars having some sort of curve? So great question. To be completely honest, a lot of stalling in an orbital is due to technique. So it is essential when you're running any orbital, whether it be a short throw or a long throw, that you keep the pad as flat to the paint as possible and that you follow the lines of the car and the contours with that pad. If you get into a valley where you have a 6-inch plate, the bottom of the valley is 3 or 4 inches. If you just try to go straight down into that, you're going to stall the pad. Whereas if you kind of heel toe down into it and out of it, you're likely to maintain pad rotation and keep blowing right through. To answer that question more specifically, I would say the 1100 watts of power, the improved bearings, the backing plate, all of those things in conjunction will drive a very fast pad rotation with these tools, which is also going to help prevent any bog or the pads stopping on a panel. I don't know if you and Jeff have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, he was speaking with, again, a gear-driven machine that is simply just not going to stall. The downside is that machine can steer you, especially, if you're not hitting the gym. But really, this some inferior long-throw machines will stall prematurely. There's no question about them. But
lower power.
And really, we don't like accusing you guys of being unskilled. That's not what we're saying. We're just suggesting that there's an art to a long throw machine, and it will stall if used improperly. There's no way to stop that.
Yeah.
I'll say one thing: the gear-driven machines are an 8mm throw. So imagine you're really on par with a G9. The benefit is that 8mm throw is consistent in its rotation. Even if you're plowing into a body line, if you're less experienced and you take that forced rotation into a body line or over a sharp edge, you're going to be very aggressive. And, obviously if you're skilled, you'll be fine. But if you're not, you could burn through. Whereas, I'll tell you, having a lot of experience with the 15 and 21, the new models, that 1100 watts, we'll let the internet buzz speak for itself. But once you guys get it in your hand, you'll find that at speed 5, I just did a full correction the other day, and at speed 5, I didn't see any need to go higher than that because on almost regardless of my technique, the pad just completely had high rotation. So, just don't try to plow over an edge, just buff up to it. When Sam, we've talked about it in the past, but when Sam was talking about heel toe, if you just think of the backing plate as the forward part as the heel, or the toe, and the back as the heel, all that means is how you approach that body line. You buff to the bottom of the valley and you stop. And then when you want to hit the other side, you either use the toe and you come to the bottom of the valley from the opposing side. You try to plow through it, it's gonna, that's where you get the slower rotation. But another thing is, if you look at some of these other machines, you're going to find that this what we found with our rubber shroud on the Boss tool, we tried to mitigate that slowing of that backing plate by introducing the spacers. But if you have a machine with a rubber shroud and you apply pressure to these backing plates, they flex quite a bit. And due to that flex, the more that plate flexes as it enters into that valley, it's going to create friction against that rubber shroud, and it's going to slow rotation down. So even if you have a washer mod on there, regardless of whose tool it is, you're going to slow rotation down once that backing plate flexes and engages into the rubber shroud. So with the new 15 and 21, we just nix that shroud altogether. The one drawback to that is when you're done polishing, just like a G9, if you lift the tool off the panel, it's going to sling polish. It's just going to sling. So make sure the backing plate comes to a stop before you lift the tool off the panel. But pad rotation is going to be, the challenge with that is going to be somewhat of a thing of the past with these new tools.
Got a couple shout outs. Paint House TV, if that's you, Randy and Jen, hello. We miss you guys. Hope you're doing well. Want to see you at some shows sometime soon. Pumpkin Spice, not over my dead body.
You guys are the best too.
Yeah, you guys just know exactly what buttons to press. But yeah, I'm
going strong.
I'm not putting pumpkin spice anywhere near anything we sell.
Keep it out of your coffee too, guys.
Yeah, come on. Next thing you know, I'll be wearing short shorts and Uggs too. And maybe I'll be fashionable. I don't know what next year brings. Okay, 2020 has been quite surprising so far.
You're so basic.
And then we did have one other question about dealers in Canada. Our buddies Auto Obsessed are in Edmonton, Alberta. They ship everywhere in Canada. Troy is an awesome guy. We've been doing business with him for some time. I actually went up to the Edmonton Auto Show in April, and there was still snow on the ground, and I got out of there as fast as I could. But they still continue to operate like that's normal. So yeah, Auto Obsessed in Edmonton stocks the vast majority of our products and ships everywhere in Canada. Can I heel toe downshift a polisher? If it was possible, I'd be able to do it very proficiently.
Yeah, we had one guy say, just be a little easier on the clutch and you won't stall it.
Yeah. No, there's no Bluetooth speaker built into this. We were talking about the LED light in the polisher is essentially the Bluetooth speaker in your cooler. Just keep those functions separate. Come on.
I think it was like a year or two ago, I was at a sporting goods store and there was like a cooler with a Bluetooth speaker, a blender, like everything.
We did get a request to power one up. Guys, we really weren't focusing on doing any demonstrations in this particular live. We wanted to kind of go over all the features and benefits of the tools, knowing that we were in stock of the G15 and G21s were inevitable very shortly behind it. So we will do plenty of demonstrations in the future. Like I said, we do these lives every 2 weeks. The more you guys subscribe, suggest, comment, email us at social@griotsgarage.com for preference of topic, the faster you're going to get to see what you want. And generally, when we're back at the shop, if you're begging us hard enough, Sam or I will run over, grab the machine, and find something to polish on. And but yeah, with this remote setup and just the big topic that this is, with 2 new tools that we're finally able to sell to you guys. That's been the focus right now.
Well, I'm sure we'll have another live where we can do some demo of these too.
Yeah, the demos over the live are kind of, you know, just a lot of noise and spinning and
Takes up a lot of time. We got tons of questions that we
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to get to. So.
The next Caffeine and Gasoline is actually at our Indianapolis Distribution Center on October the 3rd. I will be there. My dad will be there. Chris Jacobs from Overhauling will be there. So if you are in the Indianapolis area, you want to come meet some people that are just fun guys that talk cars and get some, there's going to be a sale too, I know, at that time.
Hey,
that should
Nick.
be fun. Yeah.
I heard Nick Griot is going to be at the Plainfield facility signing autographs.
All right, you know, it is
might
past
even make
5:30.
it.
We might have to cut off. He's breaking up. I can't hear
We
him.
can't hear you there, Jeff.
Yeah, we might have to cut off the Zoom feed pretty quick here.
It sounds like you might have a future in hair tutorials as well.
I know. Gosh, I better
Griot's
start a
garage ever
channel
runs
for it.
out.
I've got enough wigs in my office. I could probably show everybody a thing or two. But yeah. You guys are great. Let's see. Griot's, we do have a hat. It's a flex fit. We're looking at a couple new hat designs.
And a
probably
beanie.
We do have a beanie that just came out in the fall season, Carhartt brand. It's very nice.
Keep those ears warm.
Let's see. What other questions we got? Jeff, is there any other part of the tool that you think we missed? I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to sign off and encourage people to post more questions. We will post all the winners on Instagram and Facebook and reach out to you so you get your tools. But yeah, we're going to wrap up. But anything,
Do we have more giveaways?
anything uncovered? We definitely have at least one more to give away.
I don't know. You guys get in the comments. We got a Fast and the Furious quote in there.
What was that one?
Granny shifting, not double clutching like you should.
Oh yeah,
One of the best lines for sure.
double clutch upshifting. Had to do that in a semi-truck. Never done it in a sports car. All right, let's see. What tool maintenance is required? This was one we wanted to talk about,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, so a couple cool things that we did. So brushes, those are a wear item. They do wear out, and we've designed the tool to make it very easy for you to access those brushes. So if at some point you are having intermittent power after a lot of usage, you might want to check your brushes. They do diminish over time. We do include a set of replacement brushes in the tool, included with the tool, and then we stock those at Griot's Garage. If you ever call us up and say you need more brushes, we will be sending them to you.
Yeah, we're including
Nick.
a nice zip bag with all of the brushes, your Allen, got a Griot sticker, warranty card, all that. So it'll encourage you to keep all this stuff instead of just tossing it with your box. So keep this in your toolbox. It's got your extra brushes in there ready to go.
The machine you guys will actually shut off. The new brushes have an auto stop. So if you see that little dot on the brush, once the brush wear gets to that point, the machine will actually stop working. So that there's no more messing around with a machine that kind of makes contact with the stator and armature and so forth. So that's a nice new feature that we added. So I always when I'm done, I always wipe my tools down with like citrus multi-surface cleaner. I'll just spray the whole machine, let it sit for maybe 30 seconds and just wipe it down with a microfiber. And then I'll even take compressed air and blow out the vented areas. The speed controller is all sealed, so you don't have any issues there. Older machines in the olden days, they were not that long ago, weren't completely sealed, so they would have issues. So blow that out, and you can blow the fan area out, and that's about all you really need to do. These new machines are really low maintenance.
Yeah, those vents are actually something, again, that we incorporated. To Jeff's point, you can remove those and blow them out if you see them getting clogged up prematurely. So really, again, we don't want you pulling this thing apart to service it. Like we mentioned earlier, it will void. It's one of the few things that will void your warranty. The detachable cord, we engineered that primarily because cord failure was so common. So again, if you have a premature failure, that is why the lifetime guarantee is so important. But in terms of those wear points and cleaning, Jeff, I think he nailed it all. We're getting a lot more Fast and Furious quotes. That's awesome. Is a mask mandatory to polish? One die cast a day. I don't think a mask is mandatory to polish if you're an enthusiast. If you're doing it every day and you're dealing with high dusting polishes, which ours are not, and heavy solvent products such as professional grade ceramic coatings, I would look into a respirator. If I were doing this every day, maybe ear protection, maybe eye protection as well. If you're an enthusiast, and you're doing this outside or in a garage, that's generally enough area to not need those things. But if you're sensitive to scents or solvents or anything, gear up.
Yeah, we've got a
I'd
ton.
say one other.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
Jeff.
Simon, we always do this.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I would just say one thing to be mindful of with an orbital polisher is that, we do everything we can now with the pads, the weight optimization system, the counterbalance, everything, the double shot rubber. We do everything we can to mitigate or eliminate or reduce the vibration. But I don't, regardless of what tool you're using, whatever brand it is, they do emit a level of vibration that if you sit in and rub oh, there goes the lights again. Damn it. If you guys use you use a machine, all day long, 8 hours straight, it's generally not a good thing. You want to take breaks to help give your nerves a rest. So just something to think about. If your hands start tingling after 6 hours of work, or you go home at night with your hands tingling, that's basically your body telling you need to take a little break in between your polishing, or you're not using the Griot's Garage weight optimization system to blueprint your machine. Okay, I'm done.
Buddy.
What happens if you never clean them? If you're using these occasionally, you're probably not going to have to.
No,
right?
I would say, cleaning is most important for guys using them a ton. We had a question I don't think we've addressed yet. Juan Massa asked, can I use an aftermarket backing plate? Does it void the warranty? For the G15 and G21, these will not accept any backing plates other than the Griot's Garage 5 and 6 inch fanned orbital backing plates. As far as the G8 and G9 go, you technically can use aftermarket plates with those, but we would highly recommend utilizing the backing plates that we have designed specifically for the tools. It's a lot like doing all kinds of crazy modifications on your car and then complaining because it's not as reliable as it was when you bought it from the factory. These tools are designed the way that they are out of the box for a reason. If you begin changing all sorts of things, you may run into issues. So
yeah, Mike Sadler, I think Stevie's posting this. You do not have to RSVP for the Indiana Cars and Coffee. It's primarily weather dependent, I think, in terms of we're going to try and be doing demonstrations outside, maintain distance, even though we know that's hard at a car show. It's easier at a car show than a lot of other things, but there is no RSVP required. Let's see, what is the decibel rating? You know what, I don't know that we've measured that, but it is much quieter than our previous machine, which was still pretty quiet, tolerable.
Hey, Sam, or Nick, the CE certification, I don't have it off the top of my head, but the CE certification that we now employ across all of our tools requires the tool to meet a specific vibration limit, a specific decibel and sound frequency limit. So they're all obviously well within that range to ensure that the tool is safe. So you always want to look for those certifications. So that's all I got.
Yeah, I don't wear gloves all the time. I know some people do. I think it's just, these are just preference where everybody was asking about safety precautions, and we know a few things you can do. I think it really depends on if you're a professional or an enthusiast. If you're in this environment every day, take care of yourself. You are working around chemicals.
100%, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
If you have any question, it's usually best to err on the side of caution and wear the PPE. See if we got any other questions.
Well, no, Damian Chambers, we have a lot of new products to show you about in early November. That's when the SEMA show will be or would have been happening, but we are still going to utilize that time to show off a lot of new products. CJ Byrne 27, I'm glad you heard me on Everyday Driver. We love supporting those guys. They're awesome. Sorry, Jeff.
No, I was gonna. here's one of the new ones. Oh, I did. That's all I'll say.
Oh, what a tease. Okay, guys.
There's a whole bunch actually. If I just turn the camera around, you can see the whole wall of things we've been working on. So,
Yeah.
but I won't.
And CJ Burns,
gotta
my new frame for the Wagoneer is about 4 weeks out. So that project is going to start accelerating very fast. But
Ramp up quick.
I think we're gonna call it a wrap. We all have kids to get home to. We really appreciate you guys tuning in. I think we're gonna give away the last polisher to the best comment posted after the live stream is finished. So if you're still watching and we didn't get to your question and you want to win, we're gonna pick a winner from the comments that are posted in the video page after the live stream is over. If this is your first time, subscribe, hit the notification bell, give us a thumbs up. You'll see us again in 2 weeks. We'll be talking about a different topic, and always follow us on Instagram at Griot's Garage or Facebook at Griot's Garage. Thank you guys so much. We love having the time with you guys. Have fun in your garage.
Thanks, everybody. Have fun in your garage.
Thanks, guys.